Welcome to the Rotary Club of Martinsburg podcast, where service meets community. I'm your host, Kevin Brackens, and I'm going to connect you with the people, stories, and projects that are making a difference here in West Virginia and beyond. At the Rotary Club of Martinsburg, we believe in service above self. Each week, we'll dive into conversations with local leaders, volunteers, and change makers who are driving positive change in our community. From community initiatives to global efforts, we're here to inform, inspire, and engage. This conversation is made possible by Brackens Painting. Brackens Painting is the region's best residential and commercial painting company. When schedule and quality count on Brackens. We've got you covered. Tim, thanks for being on the podcast.
Kevin, thank you very much for asking me. I appreciate it.
It's going to be great. You are the Sargent at Arms for the Rotary Club of Martinsburg Lunchtime.
That is correct. Having a blast.
And let's just jump into your background first. I'm excited to learn about what the Sargent at Arms is. Mm-hmm. But let's go ahead and start like we do with all of these. Tell us about your background personally and professionally.
Okay. I was born in Martinsburg, West Virginia at a young age. And I've been here all my life. I grew up here. When I turned 11, I joined the Boy Scouts. And I was with the Boy Scouts until I turned 60. And,
wow. That's amazing.
Brought up a lot of boys. We had a lot of Eagle Scouts come through our troop.
Are you also an Eagle Scout?
Yes, sir.
That's amazing.
I became Eagle Scout in 1977.
That's an incredible accomplishment.
Yeah, it was very, very good. I enjoyed the process. Of course, obviously I did because I became a leader and helped a lot of boys do the same.
That's incredible.
I have 4 children on my own, 3 boys and 1 girl. 2 of them are Eagle Scouts as well.
Wow.
And then I went to work at General Motors. And before that, I started work when I was 13 years old. Got a work permit and started working for my uncle at Office Equipment Company doing cleaning typewriters and office furniture and things like that.
Okay.
I worked with him until I turned 19. Then I went to work at General Motors.
Where is that locally?
Yes, here in Martinsburg. Let me back up here. My schooling, I went to school. I did not go to college. I went to James Rumsey for carpentry and masonry.
Wow.
Wanted to be a carpenter. So before I could get a job there, I went to GM and asked them. Of course, the pay was really great. The insurance was fantastic. So I worked there for 28 physical years, took an early retirement, and then started my construction company.
You have a construction company too?
Yeah. Did that for about 5 years or so.
What'd you build?
We did a lot of additions and decks, remodeled a couple homes entirely, just things like that.
What years was that?
2006.
Oh, right before things got nasty.
Yes.
And 8.
Right.
Okay.
We always had work, word of mouth. We did excellent work.
Okay. So, when did you, are you married?
Yes, married with 4 kids.
Okay. I don't think you mentioned you were married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What's your wife's name?
Jan.
Jan. Nice.
We've been married for 42 years.
Another significant accomplishment, Tim. That's really incredible. So, when did you hear about Rotary, and how were you inspired to join? Meaning, what moved you to join, or did somebody kind of bring you in?
You know, I've heard about Rotary for many, many years. But Mike Height is the one. He was one of my Boy Scouts. He's one of my Eagle Scouts, by the way, when I was growing up. So he asked me to come to Rotary one time. So I did. So I kept coming a few times. He kept asking me to come back just to figure out what Rotary was all about, because you hear about it, but you really don't know what Rotary does until someone explains to you what's involved behind the scenes.
Sure. So do you remember, what year was that?
It was 10 years ago, next month, September.
Wow, so
2014.
There are other members who've been, I think the club's 40 years old, our local club. It's somewhere in that range, or is it longer maybe?
It's more than that.
Really?
Yeah.
So even being local, knowing Mike, and you probably knew other Rotarians. So when you came to your first, was it the lunchtime one or a different one?
Yes, lunchtime, yes.
When you came in, did you recognize people you knew from the community?
Oh, yeah. Because I've been with the Office Equipment furniture place. I mean, I've been to many offices, Board of Education, Sheriff's Department, schools, and so I got around and know a lot of people in the town.
That's awesome.
In the church as well. I played music in church, by the way. I played the guitar.
Still do?
Yeah.
That's really great.
I don't play in church anymore, but...
Still play guitar.
Yeah.
What was the club like 10 years ago?
It was similar to what it is now. There's quite a few people, about 160 members at that point. I think we got about 145 or so now. But the people that come stay, most of them.
Right.
I've seen some come and go, but the majority of them stay, and they're good quality people, a lot of good business people, and just people that love to give back.
So the Sergeant at Arms role, that, I'll tell you what it looks like to me.
Sure.
Just from my observations. And I want to know if you know, because in our pre-interview, it sounds like it may not have been totally formalized what the role is. But, excuse me, it appears that you carry the mobile microphone during lunch. And our lunch consists of traditionally eating the lunch prior to the meat and potatoes of the event or the meeting. So the president hits the bell and we say the four-way test, the pledge, and invocation, and then I think that's pretty much when you pop up and you announce guests that are in the room.
Correct.
Because all the guests, you hand out to the guests a little form that says who you're from, where you're from, what you do, and what you want me to say about you, which I think is hilarious because when I first came, I didn't realize you were going to read what I wrote.
Oh, okay.
So I wrote like paragraphs. I was like, oh, I did this, I did that, I did this, I'm from here, I did that, I did this, I did. And you got up there and you read every single line of what I wrote. And I was like, oh, that is not, I could have just said, Kevin Brackens from here doing this, and this is what I do professionally. I thought it was like something that just went into a file as a guest. I had no idea you were going to read it.
Oh, okay.
Pretty funny.
That is.
Yeah, so you have the guests that are coming in for their first, second, or third, or just non-members will write a little thing about themselves, and you read that off, and they stand up, and they're recognized. Then I believe you do member anniversaries. So, Kevin Bragg has been here 3 years, and this person's been 25 years, and this person's been here this many years, right?
Right.
And then it looks like you do birthdays, which is fun. Like
Correct.
Coming up this week, we have these birthdays. And then I know Manny's your backup if you can't make it to a meeting.
Or, yeah, there's a couple other people that are backups for me, yes.
Normally it's Manny. And I wish you could see how ribbed he gets.
I bet he does a fantastic job.
He does a great job. He's got a little more flair. Your business, he's got a little
Yes.
flair. But because of his flair, the crowd just razzes him. It really is fun because he's just a jokester too. It's really good. I look forward to him being on soon in the next few weeks. And that's kind of what it looks like. Oh, whenever there's questions for the presenter or announcements that have to come, you shuttle a mobile microphone around to them so everybody can hear. That's what it looks like the in-session responsibilities might be. Am I tracking there?
Yeah, that's pretty good. And it's funny that you mentioned that you didn't know I was going to read all of that. It's a twofold thing because people want to get to know who you are, especially if you're coming into thinking about being a Rotarian.
Sure.
So just like these interviews, you want to know behind the scenes, who is this person that wants to come in and what did they do?
See, I had no idea. I was just scribbling some things down rapidly, saying, "Oh, I got to fill this out. Okay, I'm from here. Did this work here?" And
right.
I think I put college down. I put military down. I put where I was born. I mean, buddy, I put everything.
But that's great. Then people know where you are, what you are, and a little bit about you.
Yeah, it's true. It's definitely a teaser.
Yeah. But besides that, those things that you just said, Sergeant at Arms does. And the microphone didn't come until later because the older guys that are having a challenging time hearing couldn't hear anybody say anything. That's why I'm running around now with the mic.
That's why the mic is
that
there.
Brought that in.
Gotcha.
And when we're off-site and not at the Holiday Inn.
Hold on, Tim.
Okay,
hold on. Let me get back to the Holiday Inn. So we have banners and signs that are up. Are you responsible for putting those up, or does the Holiday Inn do that?
The Holiday Inn does that.
Okay.
Yes.
But if we go to an off-site, so sometimes the Holiday Inn has a quote-unquote more important event than us, we have to go over to the Purple Iris or the Sycamore or wherever we're kind of choosing or can have us on that Thursday. What are your responsibilities as Sergeant at Arms there?
I take the banners. I take the name tags. I have a personal projector. I'll take my projector and screen. Just set up like we have at the Holiday Inn, so we can set it up wherever we are off-site.
And that way we have microphone, we have a little bit of speaker.
Right.
I mean, because not all clubs are as big as ours, and ours isn't as big as some. But the bigger it is and the more active it is, the more logistics come to play. So the role is important. And how long have you been the Sergeant at Arms?
That's a good question. At least 2 years, maybe 3.
Who was before you? Anybody who's active in the club now?
She is.
Can't remember.
Boy, I can't remember right
It's
okay.
It's okay. Maybe we'll put it in the show notes some other time.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember how it was that you came to be the Sergeant at Arms?
Well, she kind of asked me to be Sergeant at Arms, and I wasn't one to get up in front of people and speak, so
Wow.
that was a little nervy.
Sure.
And I wasn't very good at the beginning. Not that I'm very good now, but it's better.
It seems consistent. I mean, I know what to expect from you every single time, so it's great. I mean, I feel like you hit the marks. Now, are you on any of the committees?
Yeah, I'm on the pancake breakfast committee.
Okay.
With Chris Johnson.
What does that look like? Like, what are you responsible for?
To getting things together, shop, and make sure everything that we need for that event.
Well, just describe the event first, then. Is this the pancakes for polio or a different pancake thing?
Pancakes for polio.
Okay.
Yeah, the one we have the grills and all at War Memorial Park.
Right.
Yes. But we have a lot of people that help.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Olette always goes to before that, we call and set things up. We rent the grills, we rent other things as well. And Jim usually goes and picks those up. So you have to organize the food and the rentals of everything we're going to rent, the water, the coffee, and all that stuff.
Let's not glaze over this, buddy. I mean, how many pancakes are served? I mean, approximately hundreds, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So listeners, try to imagine the amount of batter you need for that many pancakes. And you figure 3 or 4 grills are running, right? Flat tops.
4 grills, yes.
Okay.
Because they're doing sausage and pancakes on a couple grills, yes.
And you got to coordinate the volunteers who are willing to come and flip the pancakes and the sausage. Right. Then it looks like Interact or some sort of other younger organization shows up.
Yes, they come and help as well. Yes.
Right. So to the tune of maybe 10 high school students are helping. Mm-hmm. And then probably to the tune of 10 more Rotarians or more.
Oh, there's more than 10.
Okay.
Because we have 4 grills, coffees, making batter.
Making coffee remotely is almost impossible anyways, isn't it? I mean, it's hard to guarantee that coffee is always going to be ready.
That's right.
That's a challenge.
So I would say we have at least 20 volunteers.
That's amazing.
Not counting the young guys.
And I've been to that twice, and it really is a significant breakfast. That's on Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. Are you on any other committees officially?
Well, if you ask Diane, I'm officially on her committee as well.
Which one is it for which? I mean, she's on
she
many,
does the social events, all the other events that
she has about
giving back. Yeah,
7 podcasts scheduled with me because we're talking about every darn committee she's on and every program she's got a lot of passion for.
But I help with a lot of. I'm not on the committees personally, but I help with most of the events.
Yeah, I was going to touch on that next because it appears that the Sergeant of Arms is everywhere. You are what I would consider definitely one of the go-to people for our club. We can rely on you to really be at most events, and that's what it appears like, Tim. Thank you for that, but it truly is amazing. How do you find the bandwidth to be there?
Well, I don't have a job per se now. I have my own business, which a lot of flexibility. So I help with the golf tournament. I'll help with the gala. I won't be here this time. I'll be out of town.
Okay.
But yeah, they ask, and I love giving back. I love helping. Not because I'm Sergeant at Arms. That's got nothing to do with it.
I kind of want to draw the line
But
between what the Sergeant of Arms responsibilities are and where your good nature starts. Like there's responsibilities,
Gotcha.
then there's
Right.
good nature. So being on a committee, that shows involvement, that shows commitment. But like you said, the golf tournament, I mean, even when I just feel like you're always there, bud.
I try to be. Yeah.
What inspires you to be that much of a Rotarian?
If you're going to do something, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. You know what I mean? I'm not one to jump in halfway and not commit. So if you do commit, you're going to be involved.
Right.
I've always been a giver. I love giving back. I'm on the board of the Boys and Girls Club as well. I love giving back. The kids are really important to me because they're the future of the world.
No doubt.
So if you say you're going to do something, I just, like I said, I love giving back and helping. So the more I can grow myself, the more I can help other people grow.
I'd say it's important to know your bandwidth. That's been a topic that's come up in a few of the conversations, is careful to not overcommit yourself.
Yes.
Careful to know your strengths. For example, and I hate to be repetitive, but Tracy wanted me to be the chair of the public image, which is what I am.
Mm-hmm.
But the 5-page description of what was ideally supposed to happen from that committee's point of view, I didn't really care for. It seemed to be just not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
But after some reflection, public image, I already have a podcast.
Right.
What if I created a Rotary podcast that allowed not only our current members to learn about you, me, and every member that's willing to come on, but we can also spread the word about what it's like to be a member to people who might be thinking about being a member. So people outside of our club can see the channel and watch it if they choose to.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're on the fence, they can just listen to some of these conversations and they're like, wow, how is it that there's this organization of so many like-minded, positive people really moving the needle for the community? That's what I realized my give back could be, is bringing a new medium, being that it's YouTube, and sharing it with anybody. I knew I could contribute to our public image and try to organize the things that I'm not that good at. I'll find some people who can handle social media a little better than I can, or help schedule some of the special interest, like mental health awareness or History Month or Literacy Month, whatever the club is focusing on. That's just not my strength, but I know that this is my strength. But that's another example of identifying your bandwidth. Don't get into something too deep and over your head. You mentioned that you were approached to be president once or twice over the years.
Right.
And first of all, it's an honor to be approached about it.
Oh, yeah.
It's clear how involved you are. And in my opinion, as a sergeant at arms, you're knocking it out of the park. You deliver every time, if not over-deliver. And you're in the committee for Pancakes for Polio, and you're behind the scenes on almost every other initiative. It really is a good example of not overcommitting.
Yeah, and I appreciate you, Kevin, because as you know, everybody has different gifts. Mm-hmm. I cannot be doing what you're doing because I don't have that knowledge or gift right now. So I appreciate what you do and what you give to the Rotary and to the community.
Yeah.
It goes beyond just those 60 or 70 people in that room every week.
It really does.
And it does. And everybody has their own gifts and strengths. So if we tap into all those strengths, man, what a fantastic culture that we're creating around the world.
I agree, and you've been in for 10 years,
right.
So you're well seated, if that makes sense. I've been in this club for about 1.5 years, and the size influence and strength of this club can be intimidating for new members.
Oh.
I mean, sometimes you are joining because you are a leader or a member of a company that wants to have representation at the club. They want to find a way to be involved. If you're sent as an employee, it's got to be like, whew, there's a lot of work getting done here. This is kind of my job to be here. But if you're a business owner or just a community member, or you have aspirations of being a community advocate and really moving the needle, like some of our members are full-time charity types that just work to help charities. And but as a new member, it can be unnerving when you hear about, there's a new member meeting, so come learn how to be on things. I think it's called the membership committee, I guess. They put on something that...
And they do an orientation.
Yeah, that's right, the orientation.
Yeah.
That was... you're nervous because you don't know what you're getting into as a new member.
True.
But if you sit at lunch and you're involved and you're consistent, you start to slide into your spot. And then when all of a sudden there's an opportunity to get involved in something, whether you're being recruited in to ask to help,
right,
or if you find that you have an interest in something, at some point you feel like you have the energy to move forward. And that's I see it happen with everybody that does stay involved.
Right. That's the beauty, I think. You come in and you don't know what's going on or where you fit in exactly. Right. But the more you come, the more you get involved, and then you find your little niche. But those niches can change too.
Totally. And
that's the beauty too, because if you don't change, you're never going to change.
Right.
And the committee and the board and the community won't change.
Yeah.
So I love the change part, the growth, the personal growth.
Right. So that kind of touches on involvement, attitude, contribution. Those are traits of a good Rotarian or a great Rotarian. Mm-hmm. What would you consider besides those three to be a trait of a good Rotarian?
I would say commitment and looking outside of yourself and how you can help other people generate what they have to offer. Sometimes I'll see something in you that you don't recognize in yourself.
Sure.
So I'll bring that out.
It's nice.
So I think that's...
So almost from a leadership point of view, members inside the club who aren't even necessarily in a leadership position can encourage others to step forward or to get involved. It's a good perspective.
Absolutely. And I think everybody is in a leadership role, whether they know it or not.
Mm-hmm.
When you have someone come in week after week after week and participate just in a couple small things, that's a leadership role. I mean, people see that and say, well, I can do that. That's another thing. When you come in, you can be overwhelmed because this club does a heck of a lot.
Yeah, it does.
And you can't be in everything.
No.
There's not enough hours in the day.
Yeah.
So to pick one or two things is...
I recently had had Chastity on. She's a leader with the Satellite Club.
Yes.
And they've established one major fundraiser, which is the Ready, Set, Glow 5K Fun Run and Tot Trot. And they set a goal to raise a certain amount of money for one particular charity, and they're going to do it. They got 28 people in their club, and they're molding that club to be what they want it to be inside the Rotary model, which is amazing.
It's beautiful.
And they are leaders, and they are forced to be. I kind of forgot where I was going with that, but what I was impressed by was their ability to sculpt and mold their way of contributing back, and they're going to be successful in a smaller club. In a bigger club with so many things going on, just getting involved.
Right.
Just, if you don't want to volunteer at Pancakes for Polio, show up.
Yeah.
Drop $20.
Right.
You know? If you think you want some of your friends to be in Rotary with you, bring them to the Pancakes for Polio. See what a good vibe is there, the good feelings you get.
Right.
Yeah. So on that kind of thing, if you thought somebody was wanting to join Rotary, but they really weren't sure, didn't know if they had the time, they don't want to be involved with an organization,
Right.
because they have some sort of misconception, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to them?
I would first ask them to come and see what we do as a club, and then just tell them a little bit about. I wouldn't tell them everything because it's overwhelming, especially if you're busy anyway. And most of us are busy anyway.
Right.
And on another note, this isn't for everybody. I think that's why some people come in and eventually kind of weed themselves out.
Phase out, sure.
Yeah. But I would encourage them to come and visit and see what's going on, and I would explain to them, just what they want to do.
Yeah.
It's not about me, it's about them.
Right.
How they can contribute.
I remember what I was trying to say when I was talking to Chastity.
Oh, okay.
It had to do with the bandwidth of leadership. So
Gotcha.
in a smaller club or a less, I don't want to say less organized, but it's like less, the Martinsburg lunchtime is doing a lot of things. There's monthly
More
events.
people.
Right. There's more people. The smaller club has set their bandwidth and their expectations of themselves for what the leaders can deliver, what the club can deliver. Sometimes a smaller club is a great way to find yourself in a leadership role. You could be a club president or vice president or secretary or a leadership committee chair in a smaller club, has far less commitment time-wise.
Right.
Whereas the president of this Rotary Club, I would predict, is 30 hours a week, every single week.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention this club follows the protocol of you got to be the vice president first.
Right.
Then you're president-elect.
Right.
Then you're president.
Yes. It's a 3-year commitment.
No, then you have a term of just kind of advising the president took your place.
Mm-hmm.
Like Michelle is advising Tracy
Right.
now. And Pete advised Michelle. And then, Pete was pretty senior. He knows how to do it. He's done it a few times. But that level of commitment to be the president of the club it's a lot of work. And it's
True.
It's as good as you make it. And I love that our club is that organized in recruiting and training up. So, 2 more questions.
Sure.
If you had the ability to steer the resources and manpower of our club towards a particular program, whether we're involved in it right now or not, what would it be and why? You mentioned kids.
I did
pancakes,
mention
polio.
kids. The Boys and Girls Club, they do a lot of good work with a lot of kids.
Mm-hmm.
And at this present time, they're doing a capital campaign to enlarge their facility.
Is that the one right downtown on Queen?
Right, corner of Queen and John.
Yeah, I did. The Chamber had an event there recently. I went down and toured it.
Yeah.
It's a heck of a facility.
Yes. So that would be one of them, I would say, that maybe we could
Try to help
help
out.
a little bit more. You're right.
And you would see that as through the grants, when the grants are issued out, or is
Right.
it a volunteer thing? What's your vision there?
Well, yeah, the grants only go so far. So I think it would be beneficial or more benefit if we would open it up to the donations from the whole group.
And maybe organized volunteering.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. I'm not sure what that looks like, but that's good. You got a good passion there. So, how about a call to action? What would you say to somebody to tell them that the Lunchtime Rotary is the best club to join? What would you say to them about that? I'm hitting you with some questions you weren't planned for, so I'll kind of give you what my pitch would be. I have my my entry level answer, which is I have lunch with positive minded people every Thursday,
Right.
and I leave feeling better than when I showed up.
Super.
I already felt in a good mood to show up, but hearing the presentations that are always well organized, hearing the community announcements, hearing the club is heading in the right direction, finding out that the gala has raised $37,000 in its second year is absolutely amazing. Being around those sort of people not only improve your mood, but once you're an established person there, people can trust you in the community.
Yeah.
It helps you personally and in your business. What would you say would be one of yours?
The education is huge.
Sure.
Because of who comes in, and you're going to learn more about how we are involved and how the community is involved with people, not even in Rotary per se, but other things as well. And all the coaches, you learn about the kids. There's so much education every single week. And beyond that, you yourself, the relationships that you acquire. I didn't know you before Rotary.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a huge benefit as far as the term just went off my head.
Well, networking.
Right.
Yeah, and it's creating relationships, yeah.
Great relationships, building rapport with people.
Like if I see you at the grocery store, I would have known you before.
Exactly.
But now I'd be like, Tim, what's up, man?
Right.
And I saw your truck get hit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I was like my second day in Rotary. And I was like, I know that guy's a Rotarian. Somebody backed into his pickup truck and I ran in. We were at some event outside of Rotary. I think we were at the Boy Scout thing. At the Holiday Inn.
That's right.
And somebody backed into your truck and got scared and ran off. And I got a picture of him.
Yes.
And I went in there and I was like, I know you from Rotary, right? Because, and I'd only been there 1 week or so.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, but those connections are wonderful. And seeing good people in the community, I see them at the gym. And it's not just young people. It's everybody. You see them from time to time. I do love that. I'll tell you what, man, I feel like this wraps it up. Was there anything I missed that you would want to share about Rotary?
It's just a fantastic organization. And it goes beyond just, of course, service above self is what our...
credo.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond that, and that's true, service above self is huge. But the relationships and the rapport and just the group of fantastic, good people. The ones that are not good are not going to be in there.
It's true. Yeah, there's some people will join who may be self-serving. But I will say the 4-way test, and you can look it up online, you'll catch yourself living that way.
Right.
Outside of Rotary events. You'll actually catch yourself as being a good Rotarian outside of Rotary. And that's a good feeling, too, when you catch yourself doing it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And on the business side, it does help your business because... we're all in this to grow ourselves and our business.
Certainly. Yeah, all right, Tim. Well, thanks a lot, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate you having me on.